Yo, it's me, CSCOTT, baby. I finished The Mandalorian. It's time to talk about it. This is my review for The Mandalorian. Alright, so, where do I start? This came out and didn't have access to watch it at the time, and now I forget old Star Wars Day, I'll watch it now. And all that. So it's a good day to review this. And, I've seen that Baby Yoda memes all over the place. I want one. After watching this, I want one. I do. This show is pretty good. So it's about Mando. He has a real name, I don't remember it, but he's a Mandalorian, and he's a bounty hunter, and he's given job to bring something to someone they call the client. And he meets this droid, and this droid was sent to kill it, I guess. And, so Mando destroys the droid, and he takes he finds out that it's this little Yoda-like creature they call the child. He takes it to the client, but has a second, he thinks twice about it, and he has a change of heart, and he goes back, and he takes away from him, and he saves this little kid. Each episode is like episodic, so I'm not going to go by each episode. If I did, I'd have to review. For a little while there, it felt like I was watching an episode, then going into review, because I watched the first episode, then I did my first Star Wars retrospective, then I watched the next episode, then I did the next one. Watched a couple of episodes, and then the next one. So it felt like, no, yawn! Yeah, that's what it felt like. But I was reviewing something else. Still Star Wars, but yeah, and you learn a little bit more about the kid going forward, but not much. Like, we don't know what race it is, other than it's the same race as Yoda, which they probably don't know about, so don't mention it. He does gain some allies, although, like in the second episode, he meets a farmer, which he helps liberate. And he goes back for help, and it turns out that that's actually the first episode. And this farmer, actually, he rebuilt the droid to now protect and serve. And we're shown at the beginning of this, and how it comes full circle. In the first episode, he says, the droid says, I cannot allow myself to be captured. I will self-destruct. In the last episode, they are close to being captured, and he goes, I cannot allow myself to be captured. I must self-destruct. So he walks through the lava and self-destructs and kills a bunch of droids. And there are times I got pissed, because it's just like, really? You had to put that in there? Really? You had to do that? Towards the end, it's really just like, when you write in more stuff to throw at our guys. Like, okay, so the plan going forward was they were going to go, like, Carl Weathers plays a friend of Mando's, which he calls him and he says, hey, you can kill the client and we can be done with this. Something like that, basically. So he goes back to the planet with Gina Carano's character. I don't remember her name. I should, but I don't remember her name. And the moisture farm dude and the droid. And the plan is they're going to go and kill the client. But that's not what Carl Weathers' plan was. Is that in all actuality, the plan was to kill Mando and the other girl. Even that wasn't even the plan. And the moisture farm guy. And go off. And that's not even the basic plan, because it turns out... No yawning! I hate that. And it turns out that they always left the Empire. And that's another thing that pissed me off, is that this takes place after the fall of the Empire. And that's what really irked me about... I didn't mention this, but the sequel trilogies, is that there shouldn't need to be a sequel trilogy because they defeated the Empire, no more bad guys. And here they even say the Empire's gone. They shouldn't, once you kill the client, all the stormtroopers will, run away or whatever. But they're working for someone, Moff Gideon, who just comes out of nowhere. And it's very stupid, because in the episode itself, the client talks to Moff Gideon. He says, Moff Gideon. And yet they are shocked when they find out it is Moff Gideon. It's like, because he says the Mando's real name, and the Mandalorian's real name, and Mando says, it's Moff Gideon. And Gina Carano goes, what? Moff Gideon was killed after something or other. And I'm like, the client said Moff Gideon. You were all there. You should have heard it. He was like, this much away from you. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe from here to that dresser, away from them. They should have heard him. But, yeah, so the original plan was they were going to kill Mando and Gina Carano and Moisture Farm guy. But, as luck would have it, the night before, they were attacked by these birds. And Carl Weathers is scratched. And he's poisoned. And the child comes and he heals him. Force healing. And, told you it's a thing. And he gets weak, but he doesn't die. But he's not that old. He's a little kid. And I still don't understand why it weakens you. Some people said, oh, you're giving your life force. But that's not how the Force works. The Force doesn't take... You don't use your life to power the Force. That's not how it works. And if you mention midichlorians, I'll kick your fucking teeth in. But that's not how the Force works. The Force, it flows through everyone. It doesn't take your life force to use it. And it's something J.J. Abrams wrote in after he said, oh, people don't like midichlorians, we'll just do it this way. Abrams or Ryan Johnson or somebody. And, this was Jon Favreau doing stuff. And I just don't get why it should use up your life force or make you weak to use it. Making you weak, maybe, but the fact that people die in the Rise of Skywalker, I don't know. And he uses it to heal Carl Weathers. But then, when they're stuck and when they, Mando gets hurt, hurt. And here's the thing, people might get mad watching this and be like, oh, you say he never take his helmet off. But they give a reason as to why he does. It's he never takes his helmet off, and he said he made a vow to never take his helmet off in front of another living thing. Well, he's with that droid. Droid's not a living thing. Well, technically, but, he's not, So he takes it off, and you see his face, and it's oh, we say never took it off. Well, he just gave me the loophole for that, But here's my problem, is that they have the droid there to leave him behind. And I'm sitting there going, have the kid heal him. Hello? There's even later when Carl Weathers kid, do your hand thingy. And the kid's just it doesn't do anything. He's It's well, why didn't you think of that when Mando was laying there? Have the kid heal him. I don't know what it did. And, like, killing off all the other Mandalorians, like, oh, they were attacked after what happened because they came out of hiding, but they came out of hiding, but no one knew where they came from. They just showed them out there helping him escape with the kid. They never showed them the troopers and stuff showing them where they came from. Or learning where they came from. So it made no sense. But I guess if you want to get rid of his... Because I was waiting for them to come in as a cavalry. And they revealed that they're all dead. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. They had these episode recaps. And I figured, like, the recap for the last episode showed them from earlier in the season. And I'm like, okay, so they're going to come to the rescue. They don't. The droid comes to the rescue, but they don't. They're dead. I'm like, what kind of story idea is that? Like, why would you kill them off? It kind of makes no sense. Because, like, they say, oh, once they came out of hiding, they were killed. I'm like, yeah, but they could just go back to where they were hiding. Their convent, as they call it. Because no one saw them leave the convent. No one knew where the convent was. So it made no sense that... We were never shown anyone finding the convent. So... I don't know. It's confusing. That's just one little speed bump on this thing. I really enjoyed it. There's other things. Gina Carano's acting, like, I've never been a fan of hers in acting. She was meh in Fast and Furious 6. She's in a movie called Haywire that I bought because she was in it. I don't know what I thought I was getting with that movie. That movie's terrible. And then in this, she's a little bit better. There's sometimes she actually uses emotion. Otherwise, it's like, oh, hey, Mando, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Oh, what's with the kid? What is he? Do you know what he is? It's just, monotone. And sometimes she does have emotion, but most of the time it's just monotone. And... like, I don't know. But otherwise, it's pretty good. There's just those few little nitpicks that kind of bring it down. But I really enjoyed it. It's 8 episodes. It took me that on the watch. It took me longer because I had to stop to do the retrospective. Because if I didn't do the retrospectives, this review would probably been done earlier. I guarantee. I guarantee. And another thing I question is, like... at the end, Mando goes back to his ship. The moisture farmer guy dies because... See, that's another thing that I got. I was like, wait, what? Because they showed he was like this far from the goddamn ship. So here's the thing. This is one of the things that pissed me off because it's, once again, plot convenience. So, the Mandalorian, Mando is communicating with the moisture farmer... Quail, and he's communicating with him. Are you back to the ship? Get back to the ship, hurry. And out of nowhere, the stormtroopers that are there get the transmission too. So they speed after him. And so the last thing we see Quail this close. Like, this is the ship, this is him, and he's this close. It cuts, and then you have him, Mando tried to talk to him again, and the transmitter is laying on the ground, body's on the ground, and you see a stormtrooper hand scoop up the kid and speed up. I'm like, that's bullshit. He was like that close. He could have gotten in the ship before they even... Because they said once you get in the ship, there's security protocols to stop them getting in. It's plot convenience just to bring the kid back. Oh, and what was the kid's importance? As much as I like the child, Baby Yoda, whatever you call him, he was not he did not need to be involved in the climax of this episode. He could have been saved with Quail on the ship. He did not be needed. But because we need Baby Yoda in the finale of this episode, we have to have them bring him back. Which, if that was the case, Why have them take him away from it to begin with? Why not just have all of them go in? I don't know. Oh, well, but Quail can't be seen, or they'll be tipped that something is up, you know? And they say that Gina Carano's character has a tattoo. She's a former shock trooper, so she has to cover it up. All she does is wrap this thing around it. And it's like, all that's going to do is make a mess. What's that covering up? If anything, she should have like a long sleeves or something. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. She just sort of wraps it like, that's not going to draw any questions? What's that? Why do you have your arm wrapped? The first thing I'd ask, I'd be like, before we begin, I just want to know, why is your arm wrapped? What is that? It's bugging me. What is that? And then again, I have ADHD, so that would pop up. But, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is, if you wanted Baby Yoda in the finale of the episode, why'd you have him be taken away first? And kill off a character that was, kill off a character in the process. It's like, what? If you wanted him in the finale part of the episode, if you wanted the kid involved, just have him involved. Half of the time I'm sitting there going, because they had this thing where they had the little dome thing that he was floating in, which disappears for half of the season and then pops up because he's in it. And then after he steals him, he just scoops him up and runs back to the ship. And I figured, oh, they're left behind. So I don't know where that came from again, but he's got it and he's not in there. And they said, oh, he's sleeping. And then I'm waiting for it to open and he's just going to be in there. Because there was one scene in an earlier episode that hinted towards this where it's really kind of a filler episode where Mando was hired by an old friend of his played by the guy who played Flash in Batman Begins. And he was also in Too Fast, Too Furious. You'd recognize him. Big poofy hair, beard, fat. He's the guy that got the rats bitten on him in Too Fast, Too Furious. That guy. Apparently he was an old friend of Mando's, and he was hired to go with his crew, with the fat guy's crew, to go get something. He's a bounty hunter, And there's this one chick that he knows, brother, which is weird, because it's one of those aliens that have the tubes that go down like this. And up to this point, I've only seen them portrayed as females. So then they have a male version, and it's like, it doesn't look right. Like, because there was a Jedi in the original Jedi Order that was of that species. Jabba had one of them dancing for him in his palace, both female. No, wait, Kit Fisto wasn't. But I don't know if that's the same species. The blue one was a female. This Kit Fisto was a different species, I think. But, I'm just saying, it doesn't make any sense. And then they turn on him and they lock him inside the thing. He gets out, because he breaks out the droid's arm and does the thing and opens it. And then he traps the rest of them in there, but takes the brother so he can collect his bounty. No questions asked. And then Flash is going to have him killed. I'm going to call him Flash because that's what I know him as. Have him killed, but he left a tracker from the Rebel Alliance, or the Resistance, whatever, the New Republic as they call him, on him. And in the episode, though, there's a droid that's working for them, and he's looking around the ship while everyone's gone, and Baby Yoda's standing there behind him doing this, and he goes to look and he's gone, and then he's back in this little container area where Mando had been keeping him. How'd he get out? Can't open the door, he's a baby. Well, he's technically 50 years old, but with 900 years you'll be. I guess they age differently. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, they're going to scoop him up and he's not going to be there. Or he's going to get... My thought was that the moisture farmer dude was going to get to the ship and say, okay, we're safe, and realize it's empty. And then he's going to be in that ball. Which would have made more sense than killing off a character. when I can figure out a better way to get the, especially since you hinted at it in an earlier episode, that could have been a better way to do it. I was waiting for that to happen. That ball thing never gets open, by the way. It never comes in the... Once the bad guys show up, it never gets... Let's get to this cliffhanger, though, that they have. So, they escape because of the thing, and there's Moff Gideon shows up in a TIE fighter, and Mando finally gets... Because the first episode, he was jealous of the other Mandalorians for having jetpacks, like Jango Fett and Boba Fett. Well, he finally gets his jetpack in this episode, in the final episode of this season, and he uses it to take down the TIE fighter. And then, so he separates from Gina Carano and Carl Weathers, and he and the little kid go in the ship and fly away. And then we cut back to Jawas, of course, at the TIE fighter, salvaging stuff from it. And you see this lightsaber pop out. And it's black. And it saws open the thing. And Moff Gideon pops out and like, it's a black lightsaber, or a dark saber as they're calling it. And I'm like, isn't that redundant? Or an oxymoron? A dark lightsaber, right? It's black. What is that? What is he a Jedi? Is he a Sith? What is he? He's a Moff, right? And that, if there's a black lightsaber in 5 years after takes 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. They even reference Endor in this. Now he's got a black lightsaber. Black light. Mustard! No, black lightsaber. Why didn't anyone else have it? Wouldn't that be cool to have Kylo Ren come out with a black lightsaber instead of a red one? Which to me, that makes more sense than having... Because I always hated growing up. My favorite color is red. And if you played Star Wars with your friends and you want to have the red lightsaber, that meant you had to be the bad guy. And no one wants to be the bad guy, right? Hated that. You have to have a blue one or a green one if you want to be a good guy. Well, I could be a former bad guy, now a good guy. No, you're a red one, you're a bad guy. See, I hated that. My favorite color is red, and if I want a red lightsaber, I gotta be a bad guy. So now they have a black one, then they give the red ones back to the good guys, and the black ones could be the bad. I don't know. Maybe they'll explain it in season 2. Who knows? But I really enjoyed this. It's better than the sequels, maybe The Force Awakens. But like, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's not this continuing story. It's episodic, and they call it a space western, and it kind of is, just the way he kind of walks through the thing. I liked it. There's this great scene where he's walking in the first episode, and he's got the way he's walking, and here comes Baby Yoda just floating next to him. And I hated how they kind of got rid of that for the rest of the season until the last episode when it showed up. I'm like, no, it'd been cool to see him floating next to him the entire time. Instead, you get this tiny little dude just crawling there next to him. I'm like, what if someone steps on him? You just have him walking next to him. You're not going to hold him. You just have him walking next to you. It's better to have it float than it is, But yeah, this is pretty good. So what are your thoughts on The Mandalorian? Let me know in the comments below. I've been Scotty. Like, share, and subscribe. This is the way.